Hey kids, my name is Hunter, and I am here today to share with you my salvation testimony. Now, you may be wondering, what do those two words mean? What is salvation and what is a testimony? I want to start with the second word, and then the first word is really going to be the word that's more important. So, the second word, a testimony, many of you may have seen a court case. How many of you guys have ever watched on TV or in person a court case? Okay. So in a court case, you have witnesses, and the witness will come up and he will give what's called a testimony of something that he has seen or something that he has experienced that relates to the crime at hand. This is kind of what my testimony is going to be, except for I didn't see or experience a crime. I experienced the greatest thing that could ever happen to you. Now, you have to understand something about me. I grew up in church. I knew all the lingo, all of that stuff from a very, very young age. And so the testimony of what happened to me actually happened to me at a very, very young age as well. I was 4 or 5 years old, very, very young. And when this event happened to me, I have to admit to you, it completely changed my life in the best way possible. And that's crazy to say about a 4 or 5 year old thing, but I'll get to why, right? So I think, to be honest with you, and if we're all honest with ourselves, how many of you guys realize that the world is not perfect? Yeah, the world isn't perfect. The world has flaws, and people have flaws, and people do things that are not good. And we call that sin. Sin corrupts, sin causes problems. It's the reason why we have sickness and injuries and death, even, right? And those are big things, those are heavy things. But I think that from a young age, you can recognize that those things are in existence. And even beyond that, the Bible teaches us that sin separates us from God. It separates us from Him for eternity. So even after we die, we would be away from God for eternity without something coming in between us, something changing. So as a kid, I realized that. Maybe not in those words, but I realized that, what I did, my sin, my problems, the things bad that I did, whether it was hitting my little sister or lying to my parents, right? They caused problems in the world, and ultimately, they were going to keep me away from God forever. And I didn't want that because God is so great and He offers us so much, but also just being around him, I think you will learn and you will see is the most wonderful thing that you could ever experience. And so I wanted that. I wanted to spend forever in heaven with God. And so I talked to my parents about it. And you know what my parents told me? My parents told me what I'm going to tell you today. They told me what I just told you about sin. They told me about the problems and the fact that my sin separated me from God, that it would send me to a terrible place called hell, but that the most terrible thing about that place is that that place is away from God. And they said that there's a solution, though. You see, the problems that we have in this world that are so apparent, that are so real, they do have a remedy. There is healing for those problems. And that healing comes in a man named Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus wasn't just any man. He lived on earth. He walked a perfect life, died on the cross for that sin that you have. He was buried and he rose again on the third day. And Jesus, in doing that, saved the world. When he resurrected, he conquered that death, that sin that causes us so many problems. And so I trusted in that day. And I remember praying, asking Jesus to save me. And my parents told me I had to be serious. So I turned around and I said, Dear God, I'm serious. Now, if you're serious about fixing the problems that are so apparent in your life in this world, if you want to spend forever with Jesus, you can accept him too. All you have to do is admit that you have those problems, that you have sin in your life, and come to him for salvation. Thank you.